Hi, my name is Alistair Croll, and I'm here in Berlin to talk about the Functional Government Podcast. Why Berlin? Well, because it's kind of a last minute piece of news. Earlier this year, we decided to launch a podcast on the state of Canadian public digital services. Turns out that Canada's digital services are a real Achilles heel. We've fallen far behind the world in terms of how we deliver government services to our citizens. And that sounds like not a big problem, but it's a huge drain on the economy. It undermines government trust. And most Canadians don't realize that we have fallen very far behind. In fact, in the last 15 years, a quarter of the countries in the world have passed Canada when it comes to digital government. Now, the problem here is not that everybody else sort of did something magical, it's we just didn't keep innovating. So we decided to launch this podcast because most Canadians don't know what they're missing. They don't know that in other countries it takes 8 minutes to renew your passport on your phone. They don't know that in other countries there's no such thing as tax day. You just hit a button, and if the government says, "Is this what you earned?" and you say yes, and you file your taxes. So we started reaching out to a lot of people who know about these things, experts from around the world who've deployed tax systems in Africa or built passport systems in Ireland. The problem is that we also wanted to hear from Canadians. We invited dozens of government departments to talk to us about their challenges. None was willing to do so. In fact, in some cases, we found people who'd made incredible applications with 95% completion rate of citizens over 65 years old on an online system, which is really good. And we'd love to celebrate that. But not even those people were allowed to talk about it. So this kind of lingered as a project and we kept working on it. But the reality is it slowed down. We ran into the same kinds of molasses and slowness that most people run into when they're dealing with government services. Until recently, there's been some new news under the Canadian administration right now about modernization of the federal tax system. This is a huge issue. It's something that's been promised for almost a decade, but never delivered. So we have had amazing conversations with people who built the systems in Canada and understand what we didn't build and why, and also experts who've deployed new taxation systems around the world. So we've decided to go ahead and launch the podcast in the hopes that we can dig into other digital services in the very near future and show Canadians that it's okay to demand a functional digital government. Stay tuned in the coming days for conversations with some of the experts at home and abroad who understand what it takes to build a functional government and what we're going to have to do to get there. And if you or anyone else you know wants to talk about a digital service and is able to, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks.